right, welcome back, y'all. It is time to dive into the world of cinema frame by frame, starring moi, like diving into the Mariana Trench. And today, we will be talking about a cultural reset, a cinematic slay before slay enter the group chat. Before we proceed, if you're not listening and watching right now, and you're not following, subscribed, or sharing this podcast, by all means, move at a glacial pace. You know how that thrills me. So go ahead and do that because everybody wants this. Everybody wants to be us. I may or may not have a special guest joining me on this one. And no, I will not be revealing who it is. But I will say they have opinions, they have taste, and they certainly did not attend a hideous skirt convention. Make sure to grab your coffee, no foam, extra hot. You know that order, so we can revisit the looks, the lies, and the legacy of a certain movie that stamped itself onto pop culture. Let us begin. We're stepping into the world of The Devil Wears Prada, where ambition wears couture, coffee orders are life and death, and one icy glance from Miranda Priestly herself could end your career and your self-esteem in under 5 seconds. Released exactly 20 years ago, before TikTok soundbites, before we were quoting groundbreaking like it's a personality trait, this film delivered moments. Picture it. It's 2006. We are introduced to the amazing Emily Blunt, seeing Anne Hathaway transition into adult roles, and Meryl Streep once again transforms a cold Oscar-nominated memorable character known as Miranda Priestly. Oh, it sets it off right from there. Just the scene of Miranda Priestley's arrival, where the heels echo, the coats are snatched, souls leave the bodies, and just like that, we are hooked and we want to see what goes down for the rest of the film. That is where the energy and the intentions, oh, we know we're just about to get ourselves into. There are also a lot of memorable scenes. There are a lot of memorable lines. Why is no one ready? I mean, say what you really feel. Even a fashionable sidekick cannot predict what Miranda is about to say in a meeting. Florals for spring? Groundbreaking. Talk about the blueprint for sarcasm. Details of your competence do not interest me. Terrifying and yet efficient. That's all. Oof. Talk about a full shutdown and goosebumps going down your spine. Those outfits weren't just looks. They were storytelling. And the cerulean monologue from Miranda, I took art class in 7th grade, so I was aware of cerulean, indigo, burgundy, all those alternate colors that not a lot of people can remember. However, cerulean, talk about a way to stamp itself into my mind. It was a masterclass in how fashion trickles down from elite designers to everyday closets, whether we realize it or not. Now, the performances by the main characters, everybody understood the assignment. We see Anne Hathaway transition into more adult roles coming off of movies like The Princess Diaries, Ella Enchanted, and a lot more. And she pulls it off splendidly. We were introduced to the great Emily Blunt, bringing us a splash of that sharp wit and big warnings of what to do, what not to do. Remind me not to use a letter opener or go up the stairs. Now, Stanley Tucci, with his extra energy before extra was used in that context, where his performance is just hilarious and blunt. Ha! Get it? And yet heartwarming. And he brings justice to his supporting role. And then there is the one and only Meryl Streep, the woman who can do anything. Her filmography is already incredible with many recognizable films and roles, and yet she continues to elevate her craft by taking on this cold caricature of an emotionally unavailable boss, the editor-in-chief of Runway, Ms. Miranda Priestly. Who knew that this would become one of her most iconic roles of her entire career, with looks that could damage your self-worth, words once spoken are precise like a target, and yet her magnified presence and energy sent chills to everyone around her. Also, let's not pretend that half of you out there wouldn't fold instantly the moment she asked for the unpublished manuscript of the next Harry Potter book. let's keep it real. Some of y'all would be going on Google, panicking, calling your friends, maybe even texting your ex, doing the most. Even though in the real world, let's be real, it will be impossible to pull off that assignment. Pressure reveals everything. Andy's choice at the end, it still sparks debate to this day. Did she walk away or did she level up? It captured the reality of hustle culture before there was even a name for it. The pressure, the sacrifice, and the ultimate question of whether success is worth it of losing yourself in the midst. That's why today this movie is still quoted, and that's why it's still groundbreaking. All right, y'all. My special guest is someone who truly needs no introduction, but I'm going to give it her anyone anyway because this is my show. This is the one woman who brought me to life on this podcast and on this planet. So if it wasn't for her, I would not be here. Well, I'm not going to wait any longer. So please, let's give a warm welcome to the one, the only, my mother. Hi. Hi. Ah, come on, speak in. Ah, Mom, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Welcome to your podcast debut. How's it feel?
A little nerve-wracking, but okay.
Mom, don't worry. You'll be just fine. So this is where I get my positivity and my optimism for everyone who is watching and listening right now. So, Mom, why don't you tell us a few fun facts about yourself?
So I am a mom of 3 boys. I love being a boy mom. It's the best. I've been married for 41, going on 42 years.
We love commitment.
And this summer have a special trip planned. It was a trip that I was hoping to take when I retired, and we didn't get to do that. And so now I'm back at work, but still now able to take some time to go on a trip to Italy for 10 days to celebrate our 42nd anniversary.
Wow, y'all, clap your hands if you're watching and listening. That is quite an accomplishment. What is your fascination when it comes to going to the movie theater and just being in that ambiance and in that environment?
I think for the most part, what I love about the movies is it's something that we did together when y'all were little. You boys loved the movies, and as you got older, we liked using referencing movie lines with each other and bringing up and trying to recall movie. Do you remember, that tune movie? And so it was like a game for us, and we really enjoyed that. And I think it gave us something family wise to do, and we enjoyed it. We had fun.
Well, especially this one movie that we're going to talk about is going to be super fun between us. But we are talking about The Devil Wears Prada. And so before we get into the sequel, we rewatched the first one just so that way we can remember all the little details from the original that came out 20 years ago. So, Mom, what is your earliest recollection of watching that movie in 2006?
Well, I mean, I remember it being funny. I remember I loved all the fashion and the fashion montage. When she changed from being plain Andrea to very fashionista, Andrea, the fashion week in Paris. It was just all exciting. Just watching it was just fun, but I did love the humor in it and the character of Miranda Priestley and how what a serious boss she was. And that was just all different for me, but enjoyed it, really enjoyed it.
Well, because I remember growing up, that was one of the few times that I had actually seen Meryl Streep because I didn't grow up watching her movies until later in life. What was one of the first movies you saw from her? Was it Kramer versus Kramer?
I was like, okay, so I'm going to age myself. So yes, it was Kramer versus Kramer.
You're young, don't worry about it.
That was quite a number of years ago, but very, very touching and very emotional movie.
Yes.
Excellent movie done by Meryl Streep.
And then there was also Bridges in Madison County.
And that was quite a number of years later.
Also, remember, this is 2006, so not only are we seeing Meryl Streep elevate her craft even more after this is about 30 years being in the business,
yes.
And then we're also seeing a young Anne Hathaway transitioning into adult roles from Princess Diaries, Ella Enchanted, and you know that she was the sixth choice to play Andy.
I did not know that.
There was their very first choice was Rachel McAdams.
Oh, she would have been good too.
She would have been great. I don't know if Kate Hudson was considered. I don't know if Natalie Portman was considered, but Anne Hathaway was the sixth choice.
And what about Emily Blunt? Was she the first to be considered to play the role of Emily?
Not that I know of, but I do remember that she had done a few projects before, and I think she auditioned and she beat out a few women for it. And then, of course, that's when we were introduced to the lovely Emily Blunt. And I remember that said that you have some of your favorite lines from that movie are from her.
Yes. She's amazing. She's just amazing. She did a great job.
Yeah, that I can't even talk about.
I don't think anybody else could have played Emily the way Emily Blunt did.
No. You went upstairs. Oh my God, why didn't you just climb into bed with her and ask for a bedtime story? Okay.
And then, of course, we have to talk about Stanley Tucci as Nigel.
Yeah.
That was my first introduction of Stanley Tucci.
He's the best. He's just the best.
He played that role real well. And that's because he also beat out, Graham Norton, the talk show host?
Yes.
Graham Norton auditioned for that role.
Really? I did not know that. No, wait, I think I do remember that. I think I remember Graham watching the Graham Norton show and him saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yep, and he was funnily bitter about it, but but in a joking manner, of course. But I can't see anybody else playing Nigel the way Stanley Tucci did. So going into it, what were some of your favorite lines from that movie?
I love it when she says, "Who's Miranda?" And Emily says, "I can't believe you just said that." So Runway is at a fashion magazine. So an interest in fashion
is crucial. Yes. And then
makes you think I'm not interested in fashion.
Mm-hmm. I also liked the improvised line.
Yeah, I'm hearing this and I want to hear this.
Yes.
I remember
that one. And then I also liked where it's this new diet I'm on where I don't eat anything, but yet if I feel faint, I just eat a cube of cheese.
Right.
So
one stomach flew away from my goal weight. Women use those lines. Like those lines are now part of our everyday life. Even though we're joking around, we do grab onto some of those lines and we use them when we're kidding about things.
I was gonna say, coming from a woman's perspective, it must have hit you differently of how the fashion industry viewed women at that point, because it sure has changed from 2026 now. And then how it was in 2006, because that's what this multi-billion-dollar industry is all about. Inequity.
Well, I mean, but that's true. That's, I hate to admit it. I wish that magazines, well, now we don't really have a lot of paper printed magazines, but at the time, I wish we would have had more natural looking, and so that when it's giving women like us who want to be interested in improving ourselves or looking at different choices in clothing or makeup or hairstyles, that it can be something real and something that we can really, really look to accomplish or to select. But then when you hear about, oh no, it really doesn't look like that, it's been edited or filters or whatnot, then there is no truth to it. And so then it's hard for me as a woman to decide, is that something that I would look good on me or would not look good on me? It just makes it a little bit harder for us. And so, I mean, for the magazines to try to sell us things and encourage us to be interested in certain styles or fashions, it would work if it were, displayed on or shown by real people, everyday people like us, and not where we're wondering if it was filtered or altered in any way. I think what's also important to realize that fashion is what you make it, not that it's got, Dolce & Gabbana tag on it or a Dior, or doesn't have to have those name brands. I believe that fashion is something that can be made by anyone, and it's your style, it's your taste, it's what you do with it, it's how you wear it. I tend to be okay with what did he say tonight? Look what TJ Maxx just brought in. I love TJ Maxx. So it's what you make of it.
I was going to say, do me one favor.
Can you please spell Gabbana?
Very funny.
Just seeing Andy's looks, I had mentioned that it wasn't just a montage; it was a storytelling. What outfit stood out to you in that one?
It's funny because when we watch it, and we watch it every time we come across it, and you ask me which one is your favorite, and I'm like, well, I like that one, but that one's my favorite, and it's the last one, the one that gets Miranda's attention.
Yes.
When she notices her and turns back, that one.
You know what's funny? I remembered when I was younger, you always had it on the TV because either it would just come on randomly, whatever you were doing at the house, you never changed the channel. And then at first, I remember, okay, it's Devil Wears Prada, that's it. But then as you watched it, as I started watching it, I started noticing, I grew to love it because of how sharp the writing is, how the performances were, and just a regular comedy that just shows the fashion industry, these characters, what they're going through. And it overall, it was developed brilliantly.
It was. It was. I think the thing that I loved most about it was the transformation of Andy, and how she was very simple at the beginning, but she knew that she had to work hard to make herself known to Miranda, to make herself validated, I think, by Miranda. And she proved that. Don't think that she lost who she was. I think she just grew and did what she needed to do, and I think it challenged her, and she lived up to the challenge.
Yeah, see, okay, I'm glad that you brought that up because ever since this movie has gained in its popularity with TikTok sound bites and memes and all of that, there has been a conversation piece of how perception is. Like, first of all, Nate is the true villain instead of Miranda. And then with Miranda, she wasn't a villain. She was just challenging Andy as an assistant, even though, let's be real, Mom, trying to find an unpublished manuscript.
She did it.
She did it, but we know in the real world that would not.
She did it. You don't know that. You don't know that. You could have those connections with just the right people, and so it can be done. I don't think I don't think Miranda was a villain. I think that she saw something in Andy that Andy had not
Seen in herself?
found at the time yet. Yes. And I think as you work hard and you dedicate yourself to a career or a profession, it happens to the best of us. Sometimes it takes up way more time than we expect and that we would like, and that means time away from your family and some sacrifices. So sacrifices, mostly, from those that you care about most, because you're trying to build something. You're in the way that you carry in your position, your work ethic, just the things that you want to accomplish. It sometimes can control your life, and the balance gets to be very difficult. Also, I don't think it was Nate being a bad guy. I think she was going through that time in her life where the balance was difficult. And I've been very blessed that in my career, that same thing happened to me. And to this day, I do put in way more hours than normal, but those I love know my work ethic, and they know I work until I get the job done. And so I just think that the love and support of your loved ones is important. So I think that's what happened with Nate, is the selfishness of wanting her there with him, which is not a bad thing, versus being supportive in what she was trying to accomplish.
Okay, well, another conversation that's deep is when you think about it, this was not Andy's main profession. She just wanted to get into journalism, but this was the step to there. But yet she's giving her 24/7 availability. I'm assuming that there was no OT given to her, and the pay, according to her dad, was terrible. So she's doing all of this for a job that doesn't, in her mind, doesn't see herself being long term there. But yet, what's the cost of losing yourself, transforming into the workplace to get to where you truly want to be, but without the cost of losing yourself in that mix?
I don't think you lose yourself. I think it's a stepping stone to your end game. And I think in most careers, and I can use mine as an example, before I made it to be a principal or a director in education, I started at the bottom. I started as a substitute and then as a instructional aide in the classroom when I went to school, and then, became a teacher. And so it's just, you work your way towards something. And that was a very critical role for her, that position, because of who she was working for, someone very, very powerful. She needed to be in with and prove herself to this person, because that person had a voice in journalism to all papers. I mean, she held a lot of credibility, and so it was a stepping stone for her, which was to find a good position in journalism. I think the turning point for her there was when Miranda said, she said, I could never do what you did to Nigel. And Miranda said, you already did. You did it to Emily. And she said, that she didn't have a choice. And she's right. She didn't have a choice. The reason that she chose to walk away is because I think the relationships with colleagues and at work, she realized that was more important, or it's equally important, and didn't want to be in a position where she was having to make those decisions. They're very difficult decisions, but make that kind of a decision in order to move up.
Well, Miranda had said in that limo, everybody has a choice, and she chose to get ahead. So technically she did have a choice, but she was also put in the corner of where she either went to Paris and basically walked on Emily's path, or not go to Paris, and then she was going to be axed out from every publication of a future career in journalism.
Well, and again, I don't think that she got out of the car and walked away because of what she did to Emily. I really think it's when she saw that side of Miranda, and what she did to Nigel in that scene. I think it was because I don't want to work for a person like this. Now, the way that she stepped out and walked away might not be my first choice, but I mean, you got to hand it to her that she made a decision and did it.
And then she took matters into her own hands by doing that. And then, well, let's be real, Miranda Priestley is a boss that no one wants to work for. Not with that kind of cold demeanor, emotionally unavailable type of boss.
Well, you definitely don't want a boss that's not going to realize your value and your worth and give you credit for the things that you are able to accomplish. But even though she did walk away, she got that respect that she needed. And I think that's what helped her continue to move on.
Yeah, because, this movie stamped itself onto pop culture because we see in between the lines of what it represents. We've all been wanting to strive to get to the next level, to where we want to get to. And then just to be in that position, there's levels, there's steps to get there. That's where I feel like this movie, it somehow found a way to relate to everybody. Now, let's fast forward to 20 years later. We just got back from watching The Devil Wears Prada 2, where it takes place 20 years later. All of the characters have returned, including the director and the writer themselves. So basically the whole team came back, and we have thoughts. So let's jump right off the bat. To me, it felt like no time flew by. Even though it did 20 years, but it still felt the camaraderie, the chemistry, it never faded away. The magic was still there. What were your first thoughts when you saw it?
So that very first scene where she's brushing her teeth, it took me back 20 years, and it was great because you thought you were going right back to where it all started. Started a little bit different right after that, where she was walking into an awards reception.
Yes.
And then things turned really bad. Not too far into the movie, first 5 minutes is big difference. Big difference, not something that you're expecting. And so I don't want to ruin it for anybody who's hasn't seen the movie, but we are going to talk about the things that happen in the movie.
Don't worry, we'll leave out the plot twists and some important plot points, but whatever was revealed in the trailer, that's definitely what we're going to talk about. Just seeing how everyone slowly starts getting their way back. We start seeing Miranda Priestley, we start seeing Nigel, and then we see Emily again. It just feels whole. It feels complete.
It was complete, but very different for me. Very, very different.
Expand on that.
I can say that there are some things that I really enjoyed and liked, and there are other things that not so much.
Okay, well, we're gonna start off with the pros. I feel that the comedy was there. The comedy magic was there.
There's a whole bunch of new lines that everyone will be quoting.
I liked kept those eyebrows though, didn't you?
That was interesting. That was interesting because Andy had no idea what she meant by like, what's wrong with my eyebrows?
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about that. But that was interesting. That was funny. When she walks in and presents herself to Miranda, the fact that Miranda acted or didn't remember her and had no idea who she was, that was a little
Off-putting.
I didn't enjoy that piece. I felt like Andy
Was impressionable.
yes, Andy really did some great things 20 years ago, enough to have impressed Miranda. So much so that she replaced Emily with Andy and took her to Paris and did all these things. And then even after she walked away, she gave her just a raving review and a reference. So
it was almost giving selective Alzheimer's in that point.
Yes. So it almost made it seem like, I get Miranda's 20 years older, but I wouldn't want her to appear to have some kind of deficiency or, some kind of memory loss, because I feel that why would they start the movie off saying like, who are you? And do I know her? They go visit Emily at Dior.
Yes.
And so it's not like Emily was not in the picture with Miranda. They were working together. She was one of the advertisers for Runway. And so why would she say she was one of the what? The Emilys, the who's?
Well,
like not knowing who that was, but yet she's still working with Emily. So I didn't like that. That could have been played out better.
When Emily remembered Andy.
Well, yes, because they were colleagues.
Yes.
Which is why it didn't make sense to me for them to play Miranda in that role. I just think the writing could have been a little bit better there.
Okay. So
that's just my personal opinion. I would have loved to have seen some kind of like, Andy, like, what are you doing here? And we're going to work together or something, but not that scene where she just like, who are you?
I really liked all the performances. Meryl Streep can do anything. You remember in Project Hail Mary?
Yeah.
Meryl Streep can do anything.
Yeah.
So she proved it here. And then Anne Hathaway as Andy, she is just stunning. And she's aged gracefully.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Very beautiful.
I've seen her from the Princess Diaries to now. It is just, I don't know, like time flown by, but yes, she just knows how to age well. And then seeing, okay, now Milan, where the other half of the movie takes place. So instead of Paris, we're going to Milan. So wait, Mom, you're not going to Milan, are you?
When I go to Italy, no, I'm not going to Milan.
That's a bummer.
We can't Italy. There's just so much to do in Italy. And I wish we could do it all, but
it's okay.
At that time, it'll have to be another trip.
I will say
the villas and the scenery.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Breathtaking.
Beautiful. Yeah, they did do a good job.
Okay, so let's go with the fashion part, because fashion in this one, 20 years later, obviously the game is elevated. There are new trends. There are new material. There's new color mixing and all that. I feel that with this one, Andy was more elevated. Like obviously in the first movie, she had no sense of style, and then she elevated. And because when she left, she learned a thing or two.
But once she elevated, I mean, she nailed it. After that, after she did during that whole montage part, after the rest of the movie, she nailed it. She knew exactly how to match things up, how to add accessories, hats, bags, boots, heels. I mean, like she nailed it. She looked great.
Some of her outfits in this movie were pretty good.
I think the fashion in this one was very different.
Well, especially the bow scene.
It was just different. And I don't think it was
the bow.
I think the first movie focused a lot of really high fashion, just really, really
like top tier
model type fashion. And this movie, I didn't see that as much. And so I didn't see a lot of breathtaking fashion There were a couple of fashion scenes. I was a little disappointed. But there were a couple of scenes that I really liked. Something Miranda was wearing, and another couple of scenes that I really liked. Something Andy was wearing, but not as much as the first movie.
And, there's a scene where Andy goes to the Hamptons. I immediately said, you remember? I said that her dress looks like my floor mat.
Because it was a really colorful patchwork, really pretty dress. Really, really pretty.
It looked great on her, don't get me wrong, but it just resembled that right away, and that was my thing.
Yeah.
And then I will say, though, the performances for everyone, it did feel great, but let's talk about Miranda Priestley, because in the first movie, she's stone cold, emotionally unavailable, and yet in this one, we see a humanized version of Miranda Priestley,
We did.
which was noticeable in the trailer because she has more expressions than she did before. And we see a different outlook of her. So what was your take on that?
Of course, Meryl Streep she's iconic. So it's
Yes.
not Meryl because she was fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt the character of Miranda Priestley had lost a little bit of its power. I think it was less direct, and you saw where she wasn't in control the way she was in the first movie.
Yeah, there are definitely some scenes where it does show that a little
And
bit.
in the first movie, she just wouldn't have tolerated it. It would have been
She was untouchable.
you didn't talk back, you didn't question, you couldn't even ask her questions. You never asked Miranda a question.
Yes.
No, you just didn't. And in this movie, it was different. I liked Miranda in the first movie better.
There were definitely some differences with this movie. We see the differences with Nigel's character. We see differences in Emily's character. No spoilers for everyone, of course. We see obviously differences in Miranda's character. Although I say Andy she was more confident. She was definitely a go-getter. I really liked Andy's character in this one.
I did too.
And then I liked how it wasn't too short, the time frame. Because I felt if it was an hour and a half, it wouldn't have been much developed. This was a little over 2 hours.
I just think it got a little slow.
Okay.
I think we could have gotten to where we got at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
What was happening, it was a little slow
Okay.
to read what was happening.
So without spoiling it, there are a few cameos in this movie that will definitely surprise some of y'all. One of my favorites my favorite cameo is someone that we've known since the 2000s. She was a great addition to it.
I think we can say, can't we?
Well, I mean, the movie's out. So for the most part, I think we can, you know what? You can fast forward now, but we're going to say regardless because the movie's already out. So I am talking about Lucy Liu. That woman has not aged ever since I first saw her in Charlie's Angels. And she is someone that is just, I could always watch on screen.
Stunning. She was stunning. She was fabulous. She was great.
She's a great addition in this movie. And like I said, without any spoilers, she is an important part of the movie. I can't wait to see her on screen more often. So she was a great cameo. And then there's another major cameo, which we're not going to say that one. Let that one people find out for themselves, even though we love Lucy Liu. I did enjoy parts of Mulan and the Milan montage. I thought the fashion in that one.
Yes, I did. I actually loved it. I just wish it had been longer. I would have liked to have seen that, just a minute longer would have been great.
Yeah. I think the story was also great. Like just how everything connected the dots. And then just there's a couple plot twists in this one that wasn't in the first one.
Right.
So I enjoyed that one. That was like, even mom next to me was like, she heard me say, wait, what?
Yeah.
I didn't expect a couple of things, but it was still enjoyable to watch. So as we wrap up our review for this film, compared to the first one, do you feel that it lives up to it?
I do. I think it's Andy coming to save the day once again. I think it was great. I think I wish we hadn't had to wait 20 years for it. I think everyone that we saw out tonight at the movies was equally as excited to be there as we were.
To me, that's what I love about movies, that certain movies, when you know how to make them right, they can make a long-lasting impact onto the society. And when you see a community of people get together for the theme of the movie, like Barbenheimer, people wore pink for Barbie, and then people dressed up seriously for Oppenheimer. And then with this one, people are dressing up for the weekend. And then when Harry Potter was around, I know people were wearing their magic capes and the crest colors. Do you think this one can also live up to that legacy?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so now let's go give it what I call my mango grading, because I give all of my mango gradings. So I give the first one an 8. And what do you grade this one?
I'd give the first one an 8.5.
Commendable.
Yes.
Okay, and then what about this one?
I would give this one probably a 7, 6.5 or 7.
Okay, respectable.
7.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that. I would say this one I would give this one a 7.5, actually, because I would not mind rewatching it again.
I think I lean towards the 6.5. Not that it wasn't a great movie. It was a great movie.
Oh yes.
It was just there were some things that I think were different
Than what you expected.
than what I expected. I expected to see Miranda in the same light I saw her 20 years ago, unchanged and still that powerhouse female, CEO with that drive and that ambition and that work ethic. And I saw some weakness in this movie, which I would have never seen in the first. There was no weakness of Miranda Priestley. There was a couple of scenes where she's with her husband upstairs and trying to explain something, and then when she is telling Andy that he's not going to go to Paris because they've split up. They're going to get a divorce, and I don't mean that weakness. Those are just emotional exchanges of events between loved ones. I mean, weak in the position in her job.
Okay, because I mean, she is human, and in the first movie she was vulnerable, but you do make a good point, because she was vulnerable at her house. And in her hotel room, but she wasn't vulnerable at work. So this is a woman who knows about fashion, who is in charge of it, takes every note. And then in the second movie, we still see that she runs it, but yet if she's weak at work, that makes what Andy called the undertakers come in and draw blood.
I just think the Miranda I remember would not have flown Coach. She would have figured out a way, or she would have called Donatella or somebody to send the jet, for them to go fly to Italy. And this scene about her having to, because of the budget cuts, flying Coach, it's like Andy said, why isn't she doing something? How is she putting up with this?
Andy is saying what we're all thinking.
Yes, and that was me. Like, why is she putting up with this? I just didn't. That's just not Miranda Priestley. She doesn't, ride in an Uber.
It was still an enjoyable movie regardless.
Yes.
So at least, I recommend to watch it. Do you recommend to watch it?
Oh, absolutely. And
okay.
If you love Devil Wears Prada, the first one, you're gonna love Devil Wears Prada 2.
I thought we would do a little bit of something fun. We're going to find out which Devil Wears Prada character you are.
Oh, dear.
It's going to be fun. I want to figure out, who do you think you are?
Well, I would hope I would come across as Andy. I know one specific person that would definitely say I would come across as Miranda.
Uh-oh.
Well, I won't mention any names. But,
so first off, what is your morning routine like? Coffee and catching up on industry news, perfectly timed clock down to the minute, running late but looking fabulous, or leisurely breakfast prep?
Coffee and listening to the
industry news?
Yes.
Okay. Pick your ideal work outfit in terms of how to dress yourself. Jeans and a vintage band tee, designer everything, head to toe, tailored perfection in monochrome, or smart casual with a statement piece.
So this is a little bit not realistic because because fashion is what you make it. So I don't have head to toe designer, but I may have head to toe TJ Maxx, and sometimes you get really good brands there. That's my designer, so I would want to be matching. What were my choices again?
Jeans and
Not
vintage,
jeans.
designer head to toe, tailored perfection in monochrome, or smart casual with a statement piece.
I think it would be smart casual with a statement piece.
Okay, just to let you know, Mom, I am going to be using that TJ Maxx line on you. Just
You know you will.
just a heads up there. How do you handle work stress? Do you power through with grace under pressure? Do you go vent to friends over drinks? Complain dramatically, but you get it done? Or you offer some witty commentary and mentorship?
I mean, say A.
Okay, power through with grace. Well, because they do say that everything is revealed when you're under pressure.
True.
So that makes sense. Okay. What is your relationship when it comes to social media? Curated perfection on Instagram. You have an assistant handle your social media. Behind the scenes industry content, or you rarely post because you're too busy living life.
Okay. So I fall completely in and 1000% under 4D.
Your friend cancels plans last minute because of work. You understand completely, feel disappointed, but supportive. You call them out for losing balance, or you expect it because it's something that you would do as well.
I would say 1. I understand completely.
Okay. What's your go-to Starbucks order? I hope it's not the
Are you going to give me choices, or do I need to tell everybody online what I usually order?
Iced latte with oat milk, no sugar. Whatever is trending right now. Grande, not fat latte, extra hot. Or you make your own coffee at home.
It's definitely number 1.
Iced latte, oat milk.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually do order everything with oat milk.
Okay. How do you feel about Paris Fashion Week? The most important event of the year, your dream destination for work and aspiration. You'd go for the parties and networking, or it sounds stressful and pretentious?
I think I would go for the party and networking. I think
Okay.
I would just go to enjoy watching and seeing all the hype.
Okay. Pretty good. All right. Let's go with pick a skill that you want to master. Speaking multiple languages fluently, long form investigative journalism, advanced culinary techniques, or fashion styling and curation.
Oh, I like 3 of those answers. Oh, I would love to be able to speak multiple languages.
Oh, this is going to be good.
I would love to be a culinary artist, and then I would love to be able to do the fashion. Yeah, just
Okay. So with those 3, you can still do those 3, but you have to master at least one of them that you can righteously claim your skill.
I think I would love to master speaking multiple languages.
Good choice. All right. What's your biggest fear about your career? Losing yourself in the process, being replaced, never getting proper recognition, or work consuming your personal life?
Work consuming my personal life.
I can see that. Someone criticizes your work. How do you respond? Icy stare, then move on. Take it to heart and improve. Defend your vision passionately, or just turn it into winty banter.
Winty banter.
Okay, good one. What's your idea of a perfect Saturday? Art gallery opening and dinner, brunch with friends and shopping, catching up on work, or cooking an elaborate meal at home?
I wanted to say starting off with some exercise, cutting the grass, But after I heard those choices, and brunch with friends is also great. I love it when I can get together with my mom and my sisters and we meet
Yeah.
for brunch.
Yeah.
That would be great. But unfortunately, the life that I live
Catch it.
is catching up on work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's relatable.
Sorry.
Okay. What's your approach to networking? Collect contacts strategically, build genuine friendships in the industry that you're in, charm everyone at every event, or keep your circle small yet authentic.
Charm everyone, every event, because you never know when you're going to need that contact and you need to have them. Case in point, I have some connections at work, and a colleague said to me one day, "How did you get that so fast?" And I'm like, connections. It's important to network. It's important to know everybody, take care of everybody, because you don't know when you're going to need them.
How do you handle a major professional setback? Reflect, learn, and come back stronger. Find someone to blame and move on. Use it as fuel for my creative vision, or question if it's even worth it.
Number one, definitely.
Okay. I can see that. That is definitely you for sure. What is your relationship with luxury brands? You live and breathe them. You appreciate the craftsmanship and artistry. They're nice, but overpriced. And you would only wear them if it's in front of Miranda.
I think they're nice, but overpriced.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. Lastly, what would make you quit your dream job? Realizing it's changing who you are, being betrayed or undervalued, never, you would die at your desk, or if it meant losing the people that I love.
If it meant losing the people that I love.
Oh, wow. That is a deep one. Okay. Are you ready for the reveal? You are Miss Andy Sachs. Ambitious, adaptable, learning to navigate worlds you never expected to enter. You stay true to yourself and you're not afraid to walk away. You're the underdog that everyone is rooting for.
Nice.
Now, before we wrap up the podcast, I have two more things for you. Now, one, what would you say is a movie that helped shape the woman that you are today?
A movie?
Just any movie. Doesn't have to be your ultimate favorite.
Oh my goodness, that helped shape the woman that I am. There are actually a couple of movies that I watched that just touched my heart.
Okay.
Because I think my most important role is a mom, is being a mom. And if you've never watched Terms of Endearment, there's a scene in that movie where, mom and daughter, actually mom's taking care of daughter in the hospital who's dying of cancer.
Shirley MacLaine and Deborah Winger.
And Shirley MacLaine beats down the nurse's station because they're late giving her daughter the shot. And that is definitely something that it touched me. And that is so me. I would definitely be that person for my child.
I do remember you had said
it just made me bawl. I cried and cried and cried.
Well, and that's because you saw that before you became a mother, correct? Or did you
I think I was already a mom. Maybe
so
it came out.
So that explains how you have so much emotional attachment to it. Because I remember when I first saw it, you said, "Oh, that is leveled down. That's nothing compared with what I would do." Oh, yeah. And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, and also Steel Magnolias.
Oh, another great one.
Yes. And Sally Fields plays
Julia Roberts' mom.
Julia Roberts' mom, and she has to, bury her daughter. That is just.
Oh, yeah. Both of those movies are excellent. And that does make a lot of sense for you choosing those movies because of that vision. You're seeing motherhood and how how you're not supposed to bury your children. Right. It's the struggle of life is supposed to be the other way around. In both of those movies, we see how unexpected occasions occur and it puts the mother in a nightmare position. Now, before we wrap up the podcast, for everyone watching and listening at home, is there anything that you would like to say for your final words?
Just everybody follow Chris Not Nolan. He's great at giving you all the insights of movies. I know I watch them just so that I know, like, oh, we've got to go see this movie. And I'll tell Chris's dad, like, hey, Chris says there's this movie coming out we need to see or he's seen. So definitely follow. It's been a lot of fun. I enjoy watching his podcast and his interviews and all his movie reviews. So I just wanted to give that little shout out.
Mom, can you believe it's been a year since I started this?
And I can't believe that it's been a year.
I started in February with audio, and then in April, that's when I started doing video. And look where we're at now.
Look
You're
where
on.
you are now.
Well, Mom,
You're bringing in your mother as a special guest.
yes, and I appreciate you being here. Love it. Hopefully you can return sometime soon.
I would love to do this again with you, maybe as we review a Brad Pitt movie.
Okay. Yeah, well, F1 sequel is going to happen, so maybe we can do that.
I'm here.